Here we are at lesson 4 of time-lapse drawing of Bentley Mulsanne. And what I decided to do, like I told you yesterday, was to work on the side panels, the doors and the fenders on the left-hand side of the car. And because it's in shadow, you'll see that the left side is darker. I'm starting down low where it's even darker still because the sunlight comes from above, so it's really in shadow down there. Although I might have gone a little bit too dark with the bottom, but that's fine. I can lighten it a little bit with an ink eraser if that really is the case. But I won't know until I do my final work over. The once over that I do is at the very end, and I try to match all the color values to what I want. So we'll see how that works out. I may darken the car up a little bit in certain places, and in which case maybe the lower end will be okay. But if not, it's able to be adjusted slightly anyway. And here we go, getting down near the bottom of the front fender panel. And here, because you can see the end of the pen, you can see it jumping up and down, and that I am really doing dots here. This is, of course, a speeded up version of it. I'm really not going quite so fast as that. My hand doesn't run like the Bionic Man. Okay, getting down to it now, darkening up a little bit more on the bottom. And it's going to kind of match the lower valence panel there, the apron that goes below the air intake. So that's where I'm taking it. Nearly done on the lower side. And in just a minute, I'm going to go ahead and go up above that and then start toward the back. There we go. Okay, now this is where it can be a little bit darker too, because there's a fairly well-defined edge on the photograph that I'm using, and it shows that it is darker, but there's a light edge on it where the sunlight's just glinting off the top edge of the fender, so there's a line of demarcation between the two of them, although you can see that it's fairly close to the other part of the fender, so I'm going to have to darken up a little bit more than that to give me a reference point to work from. But it's going along okay so far. And I'm going to go back in kind of a radial pattern from the lower edge, and what that'll do is just help me establish where I am without making too severe a line. I don't want a series of lines going next to one another exactly, and by doing it this way I can do random dots after that and completely get rid of the patterning on it. So that's what I'm doing. And you see it's just it's radiating out from the fender flare, and that makes it easier for me to work on. I can work on coverage pretty fast, and it also, like I say, it makes it easier to hide the line work, because everybody's been looking front to back on it, and there is not going to be a real front to back in this line. And then when I go over to darken it up even more, then those radial lines will disappear, and that'll make it easier to hide the construction of how I actually did it. I'm coming up on the front door handle too, the driver's side door handle, so that is for this car because it is a left-hand drive car. And I'm going to just mark that out and save those two door handles so that I don't darken them up unintentionally. Okay, coming along fine. Getting a fair amount of coverage here, so it's working out okay so far. And some of these places are really light here now, so I'm going to go back on top of those and straighten them out a little bit also. But I'm just continuing up making dots, and actually the dots are making lines, and they're fairly close together. Here I am going back to fill in so that I get a darker line. Again, still not as dark as I want it to be finally, but just enough to establish where I am with the darkness. Okay, now going back to the back door and to the rear fender. And there's also a line of lightness right there. There's a highlight on top of that fender too, so it's going to take up some of that space. Okay, we're getting a pretty good fair amount of coverage here. Probably got about 30% of it done, and we'll do quite a bit more of it tomorrow. Getting just about down to the end of the filming for today. But that's where you see. We will hopefully finish this side tomorrow, and then we'll be ready to tackle some of the harder elements, tires and wheels and such, front and back. And I hope to see you back here tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.